Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And finally got Ritus maxed out, so it's time to test her out. And she is just a budget version of Maribel, which, I mean, is not a horrible thing, but also not a super great thing, considering I don't really like Maribel to begin with, but she has uses. So Ritus gives 30% increase to damage for Prosper against space, half as much as the summonable protectors always do. And then she gives Wielder of Magic and Prosper 12% attack. And then her actual skill, still guaranteed guard, which is good, a 25% chance to super guard, so definitely not as good as Maribel, because she just gives guaranteed super guard. And then 50% skill point increase on blues, which is a far cry from the 300% that Maribel is doing. There is no weakness strike stacking, there's no passive skill reset, so you're pretty much just gonna... I would use Ritus in like a kind of a high nuking scenario that just has a little bit of defensive capability, since if things are going to get very expensive very quickly. Her trait, if they have attack up, she lowers their attack. So I mean, if their attack up by 50%, you can lower it by 8. Congratulations. All right, let's see how far she can get us in the beatdown battle first. All right, so we're gonna go into EX2 of the beatdown battle. Not a huge barometer, but free to play protector, 2 free-to-play units, and then, very old 5 stars. No actual battle unit EX characters on the field. And, we'll see if we can survive it. I mean, probably, but, we gotta test it out. Okay, so, we changed the team by 1 unit, apart from the intro, right? I swapped Fire Lumi, the new Fire Lumi, for Earth Lumi, because trying Earth Lumi was not cutting it. We needed some kind of AoE, and we needed some kind of other orb changer, because the problem with this team, as it exists even with Maribel, who's giving it more skill points, is that things get very, very expensive very, very quickly. And, Maribel is, passively resetting 10 points every turn. Ritus doesn't do that. You're just stuck with the skill cost of what it's going to be. And that is a huge detriment to this team. So, I mean, we've got Rieger, we've got Water Rimuru. They're, very competent orb changers. And then we've got Lumi, because we couldn't really do anything, even with those 2 orb changers existing, because it just got way too expensive. And, we're running multiple fire and earth units, well, fire units and an earth unit, so we can make use of the full orb change like we did here. We're targeting Hakuro because he is the biggest threat, he is the hardest hitting, and he is the one that buffs the attack of everybody. The guard, they don't hit very hard at the beginning of the fight. Their ults hit hard, and then, on like turn 8, their normal attacks hit very hard if you don't kill Hakuro, and he's constantly buffing them up higher and higher. So is the guard actually necessary for like half of this fight? I'd say no, but we are getting that extra 30% damage increase, which, does help a bit, considering we have no real offensive options here. Lumi is defense focused, Trainee is defense focused, but at least she's single target Earth. We still have Space Rimuru in the back for his support skill, as good as it can be. It needs to be combined with a few other things to make it really, really good. And it's just, we don't do a lot. We can tank normals, and that's great, if they even do damage to us with their normal attacks. So maybe not this specific fight. We'll probably go into a few of the conquests after this, to really give it a good gauge on early game fights. And Ifrit does guaranteed crits, and he ults a lot, so it's like we'll protect ourselves from the follow-up orbs and his normals that are crits, but not the ults. And then Conquest Milim is the big one. She's got that Pierce Power attack buff, and she hits 4 times a turn. She does also ult, but it's like you're probably going to be dead by the time you get there if you're a lower player, without any kind of guaranteed protection from her pierces. So I think that's where Ritus is going to shine the most. So very much geared for newer player-focused things rather than trying to force, even an EX2 beatdown battle with a meta unit, 2 meta units technically, and some other random supports. It's like it's not going to work as well as you want it to. No passive reset, no additional damage support like Maribel's doing with the stacking weakness strike. You're just stuck. And now we took out Hakuro, who was the damage support for the enemy team. So now Yom and Gobta are never going to hit any harder than what they already do. And using Ritus here isn't going to protect us from their ults, because guard is only affects normal attacks. You need a specific skill like ult resistance that trainee has to tank this, or raw defense, or just by deleting an ult, which is also what we could have done with if we had Earth Lumi here instead of Fire Lumi. So at the end of the day, is Ritus a good protector for this team? I would say kind of no. I think she's good for other beginner-focused teams, not in this beatdown battle, even with the extra damage increase, that have much lower pools of HP that hit you very, very hard when you're a newer player. If you want to take on EX2 beatdown battles and get some free dupes, you're gonna need a better team, just straight up. And it's not your fault that you're not able to beat it. It's the game's fault for not being that friendly to newer players. And it's a huge point of concern. The free-to-play units never come back. You don't have access to any of them for months, 6 months, a year on end. And that's a serious problem. And we talk about that in many different user surveys and many different rant videos. And I think it really hits home for this team if you're starting out and you need guaranteed guard, but you need a good pool of units to pull from to even begin to understand how to play this team. Like, you need blue orb changers. You don't get a lot out of them, but you need them to get the guaranteed guard. You can run a green focused team with like Exalted Champion, Veldora, or Isis, but remember, then you're negating a third of Ritus' skill, which is the extra skill points on blue, which is only 50%. So I think a full hand of blues gets you like 77 skill points or something with that up, and no additional charm effect. So it's not a lot. The greens, a full hand of green will definitely get you more. And with a gauge buff from either Veldora or Isis, you can reliably cycle Ritus. So it's certainly an option. But if you're in a fight that nerfs greens, depending on how viable is that really? Not so much. So here, again, we have an ult. He's a single target. We've taken out Yom. He's not going to hit that hard. We don't have any ult resistance up defense, but it doesn't really matter because Gobta doesn't hit that hard because he hasn't been buffed up by Hakuro for 10 turns straight. So we're not really in too much danger now. 5,000 damage might be a lot for a newer player who only has 10k HP because they have really bad gear and no dupes in their trainee. But for other players, it's not really that impactful. So forgive me if I skip ahead to the end of this, because we do end up killing him on turn 13 with a double ult. But I'm having a hard time talking up Ritus like I do some of the other protectors that I feel just help the team a bit more. So let's just move on to the other two Conquest clips now. Alright, I'm gonna go into Conquest Ifrit. Bunch of water units. Rinmaru, Harmonizer Rinmaru was given away for free recently. Water Shun is quite old. Fantasy Milim, I mean, yeah, she's the only EX character on the team. She's also over a year old now at this point too. So, and we're just gonna see how much damage we can negate off of Ifrit, who is a problem for newer players because he does give himself guaranteed crits, and he does also ult a lot. So again, we'll protect ourselves from the normals, not the ults. We do have the capability of neutralizing at least one of the ults with Harmonizer Rinmaru. Let's do this orb change, and then we'll bring Milim in for him, and we'll bring Shuna in for Rieger. And then hopefully next turn we can get a decent hand. This will get us Protector as well, so we can see the damage difference. Yeah, okay, we do too much damage. Alright, he's doing 1,300 damage to us. Alright, we are kind of tanky. This ult is going to hurt. Let's not put the guard on. Let's just take the ult, because, you know, again, we can't block at 2,800. Alright. And then follow up to 1,700. Okay, well, yeah, let's do that again. Harmonizer out. Orb change again. This time we'll put Ritus on guard, give ourselves a lot of points, and we'll see how much damage we now take when he does his follow-up attack after this ult. Hopefully he does, otherwise I've just wasted a turn. Or he just straight up dies, that too. Okay. Let's see. So this ult's still going to hit for 2,800, and the follow-up 964. All right, that's pretty good. It's a 50% damage cut. So, yeah, if you've got good stats and everything, then congratulations, you win, and you can kill with some really good gear, because Conquest is not that difficult for a longer time player. But newer players with terrible gear, no dupes, or well, little if any gear, no dupes. The guard would have an impact. But you see he ults first, and then he follows up. So that is the problem with this team, is that you have no protection against the actual things that really, really, really hurt everybody. Alright, last up is Conquest Millum, someone who does hit very, very hard a lot of times with her normal orb. So I guess this will be the ultimate test. And, originally when the game first came out, you were meant to use the Earth Golem Protector, who gave us an 80% chance to guard and a 50% chance to counter. So, having guaranteed guard now will definitely help us out. We've brought 3-star Kurobe, who can lower or increase our pierce resistance. That's a fairly good hand, so we're just going to make use of that. And then we'll bring in Earth Lumi, because we had to have her with a redemption arc, because we didn't get a very good showing the last time we tried to bring her. So let's do this, and then she's going to give herself that massive Pierce buff. Earth Trainee also has the Pierce power down, so we can really nerf her into the ground. But, 3,200, 3,300 right there. If she really hates somebody, she could 2-turn them, all things considered. We do have a full team of this, but we don't have Fire Lumi anymore. Let's just go ahead and send these greens. Let's get the guard activated. And maybe we can super guard a few of these hits. Let's just send Kurobe out of here. Alright, 5,200 damage. I don't think he has an attack piece on. But we are getting the extra 30% damage increase from Ritus. So now we're doing 800, 1,100. If we super guard, 800. Like, that's pretty good. And I think this is going to be the best place to use Ritus for newer players, is against this Conquest Millum. Guaranteed guard alongside, the potential to get more skill points and, the potential to super guard is probably going to save you more than really any other protector. Right? If she's doing 2,200 a hit to my units, she's going to do like 3,000 to, newer players or more. And now we can just simply delete that, get out of here, and orb change there into 3 blues. We'll guard a little bit, make back a little tiny bit of points. We do have a skill point charm on the blues now, so that is nice. And then we should be almost out of here. Alright, well, she guarded herself. Okay. So yeah, 800, 900, 900, 1,900. So yeah, we cut another 1,000 points of damage off if we decide to super guard. So yeah, there we go. Again, most free-to-play protectors only really good for newer players. Obviously, if you have, better protectors, you would just use them, and you could just blitz through this fight very easily. But if you have trouble surviving, then Ritus can help you out. It's just that her team, her options are very limited. Very, very limited. So I'm not super high up on this character. She does have good value for brand new players, but she's still pretty hampered by the team build. But, you know, let me know what you guys think. I'm sorry this wasn't the greatest video. I'm just not super hype on any of the units that came out except for pretty much Rieger. But let me know your thoughts. That's it from me. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.